And hello and welcome back to Live from the Heartland, your weekly neighborhood radio show, talking about what's good in the world, both our neighborhood, our city, and our nation. And we're talking to people who do good things and to make the world a better place. So today, I'm your host, Katy Hogan, and we have three guests. We will hear from Jim Arden, our friend who's in from the East Coast, doing research on his book about Joe Louis. We'll also talk to him about his foundation that runs a school in Africa. We also have our friends from the Rogers Park West Ridge Historical Society talking about the Indian Boundary Park event tomorrow and some other good things that they are doing. And right now, we are also talking with State Representative Harry Osterman, who is our friend and neighbor and long time no see, Harry.
Katy, it's great to be back. Being live at the Heartland is like having the oxygen that I need to continue to help for the next couple of weeks in Springfield.
Well,
so it's great to be
deeply.
back. It's like seeing Lake Michigan. It's it revives the blood flow. So,
well, it is great to see you. It's been a while, and you are riding roughshod down there with. I mean, it's like the Wild West. For us up here who don't get to Springfield like I used to with my students, I'm like, what the heck?
Well, I would encourage everybody to come down. This week we had 15,000 people from around the state of Illinois, including people from Rogers Park and Edgewater, down advocating for more revenue, a tax increase to pay for vital health and human services and education. So it's important for Illinois residents to go down and talk to people in Springfield about the need for this, because far too often special interests are the only ones that are chirping in people's ears. But we've got major challenges. You know, we have to pass the budget by May 31st. There are cuts proposed in health and human service programs, education, that have effects for everyday people in our community and around the state of Illinois. And there has not been the will to raise taxes. Everyone acknowledges how the economy is, and it's not something that we need to do in a frivolous way, but the bottom line is we can't cut our way out of the problem, and we need more revenues. So raising the income tax is something that we see as a way to bring in important revenue to fund education programs, health and human service programs that have an effect on everyday people. So it's we've got our work cut out for us over the next 6 weeks.
Is the current income tax something you can simply describe with a percentage that most people pay in Illinois?
It's, I believe, 3% right now.
3%.
And it's the lowest one of the lowest in the country, and so there would be a modest. There's different proposals that are out there to raise it, and it's to raise it to they're 4.5 or 5, or I think the governor's got a 1% proposal for education funding. So those are all proposals that are out there, and it's just a matter of seeing what gains traction.
The schools are particularly in need, according to everything we read and hear.
Schools are, and here's how it trickles down. So last year, the White House had stimulus money that Illinois got, I think, $2 billion for education money. That money's gone this year, so we start the year with a $2 billion hole in education. So the governor puts out his budget with that hole. Chicago Public Schools then puts out their budget with that huge hole. And principals are going to get their budgets on Monday, but what it's called for is an elimination of all-day kindergarten, going it back to half-day kindergarten. Class size is going up to 35 a classroom. And so if there's any good news in this is that we're able to pass a pension reform bill that will modify how future state employees and government employees, what their benefits are. This saves CPS $400 million for next year, so they were able to preserve preschool for all. But we have our work cut out for us to get us the level funding needed that would help restore some of these important programs like kindergarten, after-school programs, and try to make sure that we keep the class sizes down. That is a very real situation that affects people in our community. And when we try to keep families in the city of Chicago, keep them in Rogers Park, you know, crime and education are things that people look at as far as where are they going to live. So we have our work cut out for it, but it's an uphill battle because there are unfortunately politics is in play, and everybody's worried about their next election. And
when you say unfortunately politics are in play, I mean, how much more do the people of Illinois have to suffer for politics? I mean, that's sort of what it feels like out here.
I say that because I support this stuff, which people could say, well, Harry shouldn't support an income tax increase. There are others that, when I say politics are in play, that are worried about their next election and worried about, offending people and, am I going to lose, all this stuff. So that is foremost on their mind. I care deeply about what's on the chopping block, what's already been cut, the nonprofits that have already been closed. And we need these revenues. We can't cut our way out of the problem. If we could, it would have been done. Governor Quinn and his administration are coming up with reforms to get the waste out of government. Julie Hamos, our dear friend who's now at the Department of Health and Family Services for the state of Illinois, she's going to look at ways that we can get more federal money for Medicaid. So we're doing everything we can, but at the end of the day, we're still going to need revenues. We have a $15 billion budget hole, and
$15 billion.
$15 billion. And our operating budget is $26 billion general state revenue. So
yikes. So that's like half of it is missing.
Yes, it's half. It's just, and that's something that is, the longer it goes on, the longer that grows. So we have to pay down and get out of the red, and it's a challenge. But we're trying to. The point is, in all this is we're trying to do everything we can to make government more efficient. We need more revenues. However, you also need elected officials to have the will to say, you know what? Regardless of my next election, I think I'm going to vote this way. And that's something that I'm encouraging my colleagues to do.